What's up, everybody? Rob here. So, for some reason, New Jersey has a reputation for being a weird state. Seriously, we have our own magazine devoted to just how strange we are. I mean, do you see a weird Vermont or a weird Nebraska? No, of course not. Now, of all the myths and legends that are associated with New Jersey, none are more famous or as enduring as the tale of the Jersey Devil. No, not those guys. Well, anyway, I'll get to the actual nature of the Jersey Devil in a few minutes, the real Jersey Devil, not the hockey team. But if you speak of the devil, he shall appear. Now, I'm not sure if this is also including the Jersey Devil as opposed to, the Dark Lord Lucifer himself, but I'm in North Jersey. Jersey Devil lives in South Jersey, so I figure I'm pretty safe. Anyway, the Jersey Devil has its origins in colonial America, specifically the 1730s with the Leeds family. After finding out that she was pregnant with her 13th child, Mrs. Leeds apparently cried out, "Let this one be a devil." Now, some versions of the story have Mrs. Leeds being a witch and the father of the child being Satan himself, although most don't. Really depends on which version you're talking about. Any case, a few months later, on a dark and stormy night, because, of course it was, the child was born. Now, after a few minutes, the once apparently healthy baby boy sprouted wings and horns and let out an ear-piercing screech. Unfolding its long, leathery wings, it flew around the room several times, killing the midwife with its claws and flying out through the chimney, and has been haunting the Pine Barrens ever since. Well, what does the Jersey Devil look like? Well, according to eyewitnesses, the creature almost universally is standing upright on two legs, like a kangaroo. It has a goat's head, or goat-like head, though some versions do claim it has a more of a horse's head, but really, again, it depends on which version you're talking about. Large leathery wings, and short arms with razor-sharp claws. And, of course, because it being a devil, cloven hooves and a forked tail. And like the origin myth suggests, it emits a loud, blood-curdling screech. Now, there were some sightings of the Jersey Devil in the 1700s, but it really wasn't until the 19th century that the legend of the Jersey Devil really, for lack of a better term, took off. Now, one of the most famous encounters of the Jersey Devil was by Commodore Stephen Decatur, naval hero and overall badass. And he was inspecting an artillery foundry when a winged creature matching the Jersey Devil's description flew overhead. He shot at it with a cannon, which bounced off the creature and had absolutely no effect on it, which means that the Jersey Devil is probably bulletproof, which is very convenient. Also terrifying. I just want to point out, too, that Stephen Decatur, apparently, if this is true, managed to hit a flying creature. Now, it is a large creature, but still a flying creature with a solid shot from a cannon. That's pretty impressive, even though it had no effect. But I mean, that's really good aim, and the guy's a legend. Any case, the next most famous encounter was by Joseph Bonaparte, the brother of Napoleon and the former king of Spain, who claimed to have seen the creature while hunting at his estate in South Jersey. Now, it's unknown whether he actually shot at the devil or not, but you know what? I don't think it would have any effect because it can shrug off cannonballs. Throughout the 1800s, there were numerous reports of the Jersey Devil, killing livestock, toppling over chicken coops, breaking fences, and otherwise causing havoc amongst the residents of South New Jersey and, in some cases, Pennsylvania. Eyewitnesses would report a creature that matches the Jersey Devil's description, or sometimes nothing more than a pair of bright red eyes glowing in the darkness of night. And these activities would almost always be accompanied by a loud, blood-curdling scream that would echo throughout the Pine Barrens. These sightings paled in comparison to the sightings of 1909. In January of that year, there were hundreds of reported sightings throughout the state. Cloven footprints were found crossing over fences and walls, and even on the snow-covered rooftops of houses. The Jersey Devil was sighted in Camden and in neighboring Philadelphia, and even went as far as to apparently attack a trolley in Camden. Police fired on the creature to no effect, because, cannon-proof people, seriously. Bloodhounds that were sent to track the beast refused. Schools were closed down and factories and other businesses ground to a halt as people were too terrified to leave their home for fear of being the Jersey Devil's victim. Apparently, the Philadelphia Zoo put out a reward for the Jersey Devil, which led to many hoaxes, including a stuffed kangaroo with wings attached to it. Sightings tapered off afterwards, though there have been encounters of the Jersey Devil as late as the 1950s and 60s. And even today, people will attribute strange noises, unknown animal tracks, or other unexplainable occurrences to the work of the Jersey Devil. So what are the origins of the legend of the Jersey Devil? Well, for that we have to go back to colonial time. Now, before the creature was known as the Jersey Devil, it was known as the Leeds Devil. And the Leeds were a very prominent family in South Jersey during that particular era. And actually many folklorists actually point to Mrs. Leeds, the mother of the Jersey Devil, as Deborah Leeds, who did in fact live in the 1730s when the legend apparently started. Now, the story of the Leeds family and their association with the Jersey Devil is somewhat complex. Simply put, it all began with Daniel Leeds, who was an almanac publisher who was banished by the local Quaker community for his writings that they deemed blasphemous. His almanacs were filled with symbology, demonology, and other similar themes, which the Quakers, quite obviously, objected to. They thought they were heretical and blasphemous. After his banishment, he continued to publish his almanac with even more esoteric writings. After his death, his son Titan inherited the business in 1716 and continued to publish astrological content, and he eventually ran into competition with none other than Benjamin Franklin, yes, Mr. $100 bill himself, with the Leeds Almanac and Benjamin Franklin's Poor Richard's Almanac in direct competition with one another. Without going into too much detail, the rivalry was not friendly or professional and culminated with Benjamin Franklin using satirical astronomy to predict Titan's death. And when that failed, because, obviously it failed, he claimed that Titan had indeed died, and that the Titan who was still printing his almanac and still, publishing things, was actually a ghost who returned from the afterlife to torment Franklin. Franklin's insistence that Titan was a ghost, which even continued after Titan's death in 1738, contributed even further to the Leeds family being associated with the supernatural. Just to make things even more difficult for the Leeds family, Titan Leeds added his family's crest to the top of his almanac, which you might see a little bit here up on top, right above the coat of arms. There is a wyvern, which is a dragon-like creature, which may have contributed to the appearance of the Jersey Devil. The Leeds name was further demonized, no pun intended, due to Titan Leeds' very staunchly pro-monarchy stance, which was very unpopular, especially in the decades leading up to the American Revolution, especially right near the revolutionary hotbed of Philadelphia and in the staunchly independent regions of South Jersey. In addition to the drama surrounding the Leeds family, the Pine Barrens in South Jersey are a particularly inhospitable place. Its sandy and very acidic soil make farming very difficult, and even today the area is very, very rural. A large chunk of the Pine Barrens is completely uninhabited. Because of this, undesirables of society were often attracted to the region. Outlaws, runaway slaves, highwaymen, displaced Native Americans, and later on loyalists, bandits, and others that were shunned by society would seek refuge within the Pine Barrens. The locals who did live there would often cultivate tales to frighten off outsiders. The Jersey Devil is just one of many of these monsters. And outsiders, who really never had much reason to venture into the Pine Barrens, would make up tales about backward, inbred, and sometimes insane residents of this particular region. Now, combine all these factors, these local tales of boogeymen living in the Pine Barrens, people being attacked by, mundane things like highwaymen or loyalists. There was a particularly famous band of loyalist guerrillas in the years of the American Revolution called the Pine Robbers, because, creativity is not really a priority, I guess. And this band of loyalists would conduct guerrilla raids against patriot forces in the region, looting, burning, and generally causing havoc for not just military forces, but also civilians as well who supported the cause, as well as other loyalists, really anybody that they deemed worthy of their attentions. As you can imagine, this type of activity was not particularly popular, and it just contributed to the Pine Barrens and its reputation as a location that is hostile to outsiders. So combine the Pine Barrens' reputation for being an inhospitable and dangerous place, throw in the Leeds family drama, let it fester and stew for a few centuries, and poof, the legend of the Jersey Devil. Now, in the modern day, the Jersey Devil is not something to be feared, but rather something that acts almost as a mascot for the state. It personifies all of the weirdness and oddity that is New Jersey, and even though it is associated with South Jersey, the entire state really embraces it as one of its own. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I believe there was a proposal to make the Jersey Devil the official state apparition. I couldn't find confirmation of this, but it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. I don't think any other state has a state apparition. I don't know, we would be the only one, but I'm not even sure if that's true or not. But in any case, I just thought that'd be interesting. The Jersey Devil, of course, is the mascot for the professional hockey team, and is something that is embraced by residents of the state rather than something to be feared. That being said, stay out of the Pine Barrens at night. It's just for your own safety. Also, probably the mafia. They used to bury bodies there. Just saying. You don't want to get involved. So that's it. The Jersey Devil in under 10 minutes. Hit the like and subscribe button if you thought this was interesting and entertaining, and have a good day. Or don't. You're adults. Do whatever you like. See ya.